Did you know that on Corrode, if the enemy is smoking main, you can actually jump on this box and look over the smoke into heaven? No way that the enemies will expect that. A very easy tricky to start this video with, but welcome to another episode of the Valorant tips and tricks sent by you series. We got a lot of cool new mechanics in this video, can't wait to show them, but before I start, some might notice that my voice is like a little bit gone, and that's because last week I went to Rock Werchter, and that's a festival in Belgium, so I guess I sang a little too loud during Linkin Park and Rufus du Sol. But hey, I didn't want you guys to wait too long for the new episode, so let's dive straight into the video, and let's start with this Corrode trick. Usually, if you plant a spike in the hut on Corrode, you sadly can't go for wallbang shots if you only have a Vandal. You need an Odin to shoot through the walls. Well, my friends, this is kinda true, but not really, because here's what you can do. First, plant a spike all the way in the right corner, and after that, make your way into heaven. Why into heaven, you might ask? Well, the top part of the hut is actually wallbangable with a Vandal. This means that if you can go for a crazy post-plant play, if, of course, you got control over heaven. A pretty nice tricky. And while we're on Corrode, we just need to talk about middle, because there's a big flaw on middle, and for it, I want you to take a look at this clip. Yup, you see that? Matty is trying to crouch around the corner in mid in the hopes that the enemies don't spot him. And did it work? It worked. This feature on Corrode is actually pretty unfair. Let me explain what exactly happened. If the defender players stand all the way on the backside of middle, there's a wall blocking their vision on the left side. This means that if you crouch, you'll be able to sneak past the enemies in mid without getting spotted. I think this mechanic is unfair. You shouldn't be able to play Valorant like this. But if you don't want this to happen to you, instead of standing all the way on the back of middle, you can walk a little forward and hold mid from this spot. In that case, this sneaky trick won't be possible. Let's now move on with the mechanic that I bet not a lot of people know about. If you fall from a high spot, of course you take fall damage, right? But did you know that if you crouch while falling, you'll actually take more fall damage than if you're not crouching? If we take window on Haven, for example, if you're not crouching, you take 16 damage if you walk off it, and if you do crouch, you take 17 damage if you walk off it. Whoa, that's a 1 damage difference! Big difference, right? Yeah, I know, 1 HP difference might not be that important, but it's a cool mechanic to know, and hey, maybe it will save your life one day. While we're over here on Haven, by the way, there's a mechanic about window that I showed in last episode, where I first thought that it wasn't possible, just a lucky moment in game, but a viewer actually found a consistent way of doing this trick. I'm talking about this clippy over here, take a look.
Vice was long.
Spike down A.
Good shit. Wait. I stepped on top of it, like I didn't jump.
Like you see in this clip, King Carrot didn't have to jump on the ledge. He could just walk on it. Because of that, he was accurate immediately and could go for fast shots. Very cool trick, right? Here's how to do it consistently. First, you need to stand against the corner of this wall. After that, aim at the edge of the window and then simply walk forward. You don't have to jump now. The trick of this lineup is that you get the angle right to walk on the window. But if you know how to angle yourself, you don't need this lineup anymore. Because if you do it a few times, you get a feeling for it and you can just walk on the window easy peasy. Also, is this tricky bug abuse? I have no idea. There's a small line between pixel spots and it's not very game breaking, but be careful with using it. This next trick, however, is definitely bug abuse, but I'll show it you anyway because it's a pretty cool bug. If you jump off the map on Abyss over here, then aim in between the grass thing and that rock over there, float all the way to the end with jet, you'll land on an invisible pixel spot. Over here you can just chill without dying. It's a cool spot to save your guns with, not really to play a post plant or like kill an enemies from, because your guns will be inaccurate, but of course in theory your ult will be accurate, so hey, a cool glitchy to know. Back to some real tricks now. As most people know, if you plant a spike you can instantly destroy the sage wall. This is a nice trick to surprise the enemies with and get them when they least expect it. But something that's a little less known is that you can also break the sage wall with the chamber teleport. The downside of this mechanic is that you have a small delay before you can shoot, but if you break the wall with chamber and you have teammates behind you, then also this could be a nice trick to surprise the enemies.
I'm watching.
Okay, back to Corrode for some trickies again. You see this window over here in front of B? If you aim exactly on the corner of the wall over here and then jump, you can place down your Cypher cam and easily spot B side from behind the window. Because your camera is behind the window, there's less chance that the enemies will spot it, so it's a sneaky way to get info. You sadly can't tag the enemies though. And this wasn't the only trick from this spot, because did you know that you can place your sage wall on this box and then you can also look through this window. The best part about this spot is that if enemies are standing in the hut, they won't be able to see your wall. A good one to get some sneaky sneaky wallbang kills with. Keep in mind though, your wall does get spotted if the enemies walk over here. And while we're on Corrode, did you know that this wall over here is actually not here? Huh? What do I mean? Well, my friends, abilities will go straight through this wall. I know this isn't supposed to be in a game, so I wouldn't recommend to use it, but I mean, if you stand against this wall over here and you happen to aim at the left side of the balcony, then shoot your Molotov, your molly will accidentally go through the wall and hit the enemy standing in this corner. I mean, no bug abuse, of course not, it's just an accident. A happy little accident, as Bob Ross would say. Bobber break. Okay, Bobber, who won the giveaway of this episode? Drumroll please, and Shem Yeon, or Gem Yeon. Sorry if I pronounce your name wrong, but congrats, you won this video's battle pass. Let's continue. Okay, my friends, on this channel I show a lot of good tricks, but some tricks might feel a little bit silly, and these next 3 tricks fit perfectly into that category. Here's the first example of a silly trick.
I redo gun delivery.
You should run.
Okay, what is happening over here? Well, my friends, a mechanic you can use in Valorant is to juggle your guns, and then you can walk with 2 guns at the same time. This is a mechanic that Pineapple used to get 1 gun to the other side of the map, so Pineapple's teammate ISO didn't have to play with a pistol.
I did that shit all the way from A main.
I mean, you're walking like in the open with 2 guns at the same time. You can't shoot on the enemy if you see one. You'll make a lot of sound so the enemies will hear that you drop a gun over and over again. They know exactly where you are. And I mean, at this point, why doesn't ISO walk to the gun instead of you walking towards ISO with 2 guns in your hand? So yeah, the trick might not be the best, but it's a cool tricky. Okay, second example of a silly trick. One of the fastest ways to do damage to an enemy without killing them is with the Outlaw body shot. It's relatively easy to hit the body shot with the Outlaw, and with 1 shot you do 140 damage, pretty fast damage. Now question to you, what's the easiest way to do damage on an enemy? I'll give you a sec. Well, the answer is long range with a judge. The bullet spread of a judge is extremely big, so it's very easy to hit the target. The problem though, the bullets don't do a lot of damage. It's about 14 damage per shot on long range, but my friends, 14 damage? That's enough to get a kill if a teammate hits the enemy with an Outlaw. So why not combine the 2? Let the teammate use the Outlaw, and you use a judge on long range, combine the 2, and then easy peasy kills. Well played, Waffles Maker. I wouldn't recommend to use this trick, but it's a cool thing you can do in game. It will definitely tilt the enemies. And then the third silly trick. You know that mechanic where you push yourself on a box with the breach ultimate? Well, did you know that you can also do this the other way around? If an enemy breach is ulting you, you can use his ultimate to jump on a box and get some height, I guess. I don't have to tell you why this is a silly trick that you shouldn't be using, because while you jump on the box you will be stunned. The enemies will very likely push, but I mean, they might not expect that you will be on the box, I guess. And that's how Funky Llama actually got a kill. A better way to use this breach mechanic is the other way around. You can even use it to defuse a spike behind the sage wall.
Oh my god.
Oh god.
Shut up and let me work.
Oh my god.
Das funktioniert.
Doch.
Okay, let's now move on with the cool mechanic again. There's a thing about wallbanging that a lot of people get wrong. Here's the thing, the amount of damage you do if you wallbang depends on 2 things. First one is the type of material you shoot through. If you shoot through bricks, it will do less damage than if you shoot through wood, for example. But the second factor I personally didn't know was a thing, and that's that the thickness of the wall also matters. If we, for example, shoot through the small edge of this wall, my operator bullet does 237 damage, but if I walk a bit more to the left, then the bullet needs to travel through a thicker part of the wall, and now the bullet does 198 damage. So the thickness of the wall matters. I mean, in the end it kinda makes sense, you know, but I never knew this was a thing. I thought every material was the same, but apparently not. Okay, next tricky, underrated combo. Do you notice that your teammate Yoru is popping his ultimate and running towards the enemies? Why not follow that Yoru while you're in Astra form? And if you notice that he spots an enemy, then simply use your stun on the enemy while Yoru is standing next to the enemy. The enemy will get stunned, Yoru doesn't get stunned, and that's how Yoru can get an easy kill. This is a combo that Pineapple used in this round. Take a look at it.
That's right.
Hey, the Reyna's right on me.
Knocking them.
Nice.
Don't got any friends? No worries, I'm in the same shoes. Here are some tricks you can do solo. On Corrode with Viper, if you plant the spike behind the hut, and after that make your way to heaven, you can place your ultimate on the corner of heaven over here. And look at that, your ulti will go all the way around. There are so many spots where you could be chilling as Viper. There's no way that an enemy will find you. And you can combine it with a molly you can shoot from either heaven or down. Easy peasy postplant win for you. Another strong way to play the postplant on Corrode is with this Sage tricky on A. It's very simple. Place your wall on the entrance so there's a small small gap where you can plant in, and after that plant the spike while aiming towards main. Now from the enemy's perspective, if they enter side, it might be a bit hard for them to find the spike, and if they do find it, you can play from a lot of angles over here, just a very annoying spot for the enemies to retake. And then we have this trick, take a look at it.
One enemy remains.
Yup, Mr. R wasn't the only one who submitted in this trick. I think there's a creator on YouTube who found this trick out. No idea who, so if you know, let me know in the comments down below. This one will probably get fixed very soon though. Anyway, this was the last trick of the video. Big shout out to everyone who submitted in a trick. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.